following program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.
Hello, and thanks for tuning in to Let's Talk Beauty. My name is Sharon, owner of Green Envy Salon and Spa in downtown Nashua. And today we have an amazing guest. We're going to talk about chiropractic and wellness. So today's guest is Dr. Sullivan. She owns the chiropractic practice on Main Street in downtown Nashua. So we're going to welcome her to the show. Dr. Sullivan, thanks for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
How are you today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Good, good. So how long have you been doing chiropractic?
I've been a chiropractor for 24 years.
24 years.
24
You don't
years.
look like you could possibly be doing
Well,
it for 24
thank you very
years.
much.
And you love it?
I do. I absolutely love it.
Yeah.
Yes.
And how long have you been on the Main Street location?
I've been practicing on Main Street for 5 years.
For 5 years?
5 years. But I've been here in Nashua for 24 years.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Good. So you've been there for 5 years, and how would you describe how chiropractic care helps the overall wellness of us, individuals?
Well, I think that's a good question. A lot of people think that chiropractic is just for low back and neck pains. But the thing is, the chiropractic is for overall wellness, and the reason being is your nervous system controls every function in your body, your digestion, your immune system, allergies. And chiropractic isn't meant to treat or cure any of those things, but the bones cover your nervous system. And if your spine is putting pressure on one of those nerves that goes to that part of your body, then your body doesn't get the complete messages from the brain, and then whatever at the end of that nerve doesn't function 100%.
Okay.
And so it's very simple. If you have no nerve interference or less nerve interference, your body functions better.
Yes. Well, I go see you as well, and I've had a couple of episodes in the last couple of years where I was literally walking in your office and I could barely walk, and you've really helped those issues, and I'm very thankful for that. I never thought I would ever have that problem where, like crippled, like I can barely walk, and I was in so much pain, and that was in my lower back.
Yes.
So I was, trying to do a little construction and do, I'm a hairdresser and do all the things that I do, being on my feet. So going to see you has definitely helped me very much.
I'm glad to hear
Yeah.
that.
So you also do wellness and
We do.
nutrition.
My postdoctorate is in holistic medicine, functional medicine. So we have some weight loss programs at our office, natural weight loss, so people can lose weight very rapidly and eating real food, no gimmicks. And we have a 21-day purification program with, sometimes like people look at yourself and they say, oh, she's fit, she's healthy. But, you with your line of business, you work with a lot of chemicals and things. And so it's always good for everybody to do some type of purification program, once a year.
Yeah, I agree.
And it's all real food. It's nothing crazy. It's actually, you eat more on it. Most of us are malnourished, and we think we're eating all day long, but we're not eating good whole foods.
Right. So you take supplements and you give, and there's some sort of meal plan
Exactly.
with the supplements?
Yeah, it's all real food. So there's like no dairy, there's no sugars, it's gluten-free. A lot of people have, they have sensitivities to gluten or dairy, and they don't necessarily have celiac disease, but they don't realize how, poopy they feel until they stop eating it for a short period of time.
Right, right. And there's so much involved in that in today's day and age, gluten-free, and people are affected in so many different ways where I don't remember that ever being like that. You know what I mean? Years ago, who would have known?
Right. Well, I think the American diet over the last 20 years, with the food pyramid changing in the 80s with all the carbohydrates at the bottom, people tend to eat more carbs and crackers and bagels, and they don't realize that, a bagel is still a sugar.
Right.
And there's a study out there right now that the average American eats 165 pounds of sugar a year.
I believe it.
165. That's amazing.
That's
yeah.
everything that I buy, that's what I look at, is how much sugar is in it.
Well, that's a good thing. And there's a little simple formula that you can do. If you just take the carbohydrates, not the fiber, but the carbohydrates after the fiber, you divide it by 5. That's how many packets of sugar in the food that you're eating.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's a good tip to know.
Well, like a can of Coke, 8 packets of sugar. A bagel has if you just get a whole bagel, egg bagel, not grain, with
Yep.
fiber, you're looking at 15 to 17 packets of sugar in a bagel, and people think, well, it's a healthy bagel. It still has sugar.
Yeah.
So,
And it's funny how all these different diets and all these, the carbs and the sugars and the sodium and all these different things that people are looking at, people didn't look at sugar before.
right.
It's all about calories and the carbs. I remember in the 80s, oh, it's good to have, pasta and, that's a really energy. It's a
Right,
good,
right.
You're going to lose weight eating that.
Yeah.
Really?
Work out and then have your pasta.
Right.
Yeah, which is the worst thing you can do. Is
I
now,
know.
yes, I totally agree. Yeah. Well, it's a filler for the food industry. It's a sugar is a filler, and even now they're not using sugar. They're using high fructose corn syrup, which is 15 times sweeter than sugar, and your body just doesn't process it. So
Right.
it's genetically modified. It's not good for you.
Mhm.
These commercials you see on TV, it's just propaganda. It's really bunk.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
So,
There's just so much involved with nutrition and food, and I keep saying now, it used to be, I'm going to go on a diet or I'm going to try this diet, and it's really not a diet. It's really a way of life. It's a way of living. Every day you need to try and eat as clean as possible. Yeah, once in a while you want to treat yourself to something
sure.
fatty, because you're going to crave that. But I'll tell you, once you do eat clean and you have the fatty foods, you can really feel it.
Absolutely,
You know?
absolutely. Well, years ago, people worked hard and they ate whole food.
Mhm.
Maybe they had bacon, but it wasn't from the bacon we're eating now with all the nitrates and the processed food and the hormones. But health is more than nutrition. It's nutrition, it's physical, and it's it's emotional.
Mhm.
So you have to have a balance between those three groups, which is wellness.
Right.
And so wellness being physical, you could work out and work out great, but like yourself, you work out, you keep yourself fit, but you stand all day long in an unusual posture for your profession. You're exposed to chemicals, so you have to do these other things that affect your health in a positively manner, because you're going to have all these other negative things.
Right. And I really
So-
have to try, because I am on my feet and I'm busy with clients, that trying to make sure I'm drinking that water intake, during the
Mhm.
day, and trying to fit that time in to eat, because it can, there can be hours that go by and I realize I haven't had any water. Wow, I haven't eaten,
Mhm.
and I'm trying to get better with that.
Water is huge. I think if,
Oh, yeah.
if anybody gets one tip out of this program, if they just drink half the body weight in ounces in water.
Mhm.
And your body, if you just drop by 2% in water content, fatigue sets in. So at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, people thinking, oh, I'm tired. They're reaching for that coffee, which is a dehydrates, your diuretic, or they're reaching for the candy bar, which
Yep.
is a diuretic. But the mechanism in your brain that tells you you're hungry, thirsty, or craving sugar is all the same. So you go for the water first,
Right.
and then you're less likely to eat the sugar or the caffeine, which ages us
Mhm.
and causes dehydration. So
Yeah.
water is really key.
Mhm.
I agree.
Yeah, and I think it's funny how sometimes they say, well, coffee is good for you, coffee's bad for you.
Right.
It's like, it seems like every 10 years something's changing,
Coffee in itself, I think if you have a good organic, I'm not a coffee drinker, I'm a tea drinker, but
Yep.
if you have a good organic cup of coffee, studies have shown that 1 to 2 cups a day of dark roasted coffee is actually good for you. It's loaded with antioxidants.
Yeah, I drink the
Yeah.
Newman's organic.
Yes. Yeah.
So hopefully, and
That's good.
I have like maybe 1 cup, not every day, but and I'm gonna have it if I want it. I'm gonna have
Right,
it.
right. It's only a cup. It's the people that are drinking 8 to 10 cups a day and they're not drinking water,
Yeah, and you're
they're-
drinking. I mean, when I would go to Dunkin' Donuts or whatever, I'd be in line and I'll have a large iced coffee with 10 sweet and low and 6 pumps of cream or whatever, or extra cream. I'm like, you're not even drinking coffee at this point.
Right.
You're
It's a
drinking sugar.
dessert. Yeah. Yeah. It's a pound of sugar.
I'm like,
I agree.
oh my
yeah.
gosh, how can you do that?
I totally agree. Yeah.
Yeah. So you brought in the spine today.
Yes.
So can we talk a little bit? Get
Sure,
some
yeah,
knowledge about the spine.
So this is, your spine. This is the back. This is the front.
Mhm.
And you should have this nice S curve in your spine. It's a natural spring for your spine. So it's especially important for people like you that stand all day.
Mhm.
And it's really important for people that sit. People that sit like this on a computer, they actually sitting forward puts the most pressure on your spine.
Yeah.
So it takes a curve out of your neck, takes a curve out of your lower back. And then they go to the gym and try to work out and they don't have that spring, and then it's a problem.
Yep.
So So these curves are important. As chiropractors, we look to see if if the curves in the spine. We also look to see if the spine is aligned, and from front to back, it should be straight up and down.
Mm-hmm.
So from things that we do, they can become misaligned. We call those subluxations.
Mm-hmm.
And a subluxation is when that bone is misaligned and it puts pressure on that nerve. And then whatever at the end of the nerve doesn't get the complete message, and it's altered function.
Mm-hmm.
And that can cause a lot of problems. We see everybody in our practice from tiny babies to senior citizens, and we see a lot of children that have colic, or they're constipated, they're not pooping. If those of we both have children.
Yeah.
A baby that's not pooping is not a happy baby
No.
and not a happy mom
I
or
know.
dad.
Yeah, my granddaughter had a big problem with that. So she's gotten better, but when she was a little younger, it was a struggle.
Yes.
So, and my kids never had that problem. So I was like, oh my goodness, what's the matter with her?
Right.
And but now that she's outgrowing it, so.
Well,
but-
and if you have a subluxation on the lower spine, that can cause a lot of problems. I have patients that come in that, the children have asthma and they get adjusted regularly. It helps them with their asthma. We see a lot of autistic kids that respond very well to chiropractic. The parents will report that they're calmer at school, they're more responsive, their occupational therapists will say, I don't know what you're doing different, but I'm noticing these more positive things with them. And they're just getting adjusted.
Yeah.
And not that I should say just an adjustment, because an adjustment is a powerful thing. It removes that nerve interference and lets the body do what it's supposed to do.
Right. So hips.
So this is your cervical spine. There are 7 in your neck,
Yep.
7 bones in your neck. We call it the C-spine or cervical spine. Where your ribs are attached is your thoracic spine. There are 12. And your low back, which you're well familiar with,
Yes.
is your lumbar spine, and there are 5. And the way I tell my anatomy and physiology students when I was teaching is, if you remember 7, 12, and 5, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, so 7, 12, and 5,
Mhm.
that's how many bones are in each section. Then you have your sacrum and your tailbone, which we cannot wag no matter how happy we are.
Right,
It's just
right.
stuck. All right. And we have our pelvis, which is also called the ilium. And what a lot of people, one of the biggest problems I see in the practice, people that are standing or sitting, is a sciatic nerve, which is a big fat nerve, comes out of here, and it's right by the SI
About that,
joint.
yeah.
It comes down the leg. And so when you're sitting, it jams out. If you're standing like you do all day long, and
Yep.
it jams that SI joint, and that can be bothersome. So you want to get your spine checked on a regular basis, just like if you go to the dentist and you have your teeth cleaned every 6 months. You don't want to wait till you have an abscess to go to the dentist.
Correct.
So you don't want to wait until you can't walk, to come into the office.
Right.
And we have you yourself have been one of those people.
Walking in crippled. Help me.
Being carried in. So it's nice. And then probably the biggest mistake that I see with patients, because we all have busy lives, is people get to the point where they've come in for crisis because they've worked out or some craziness has happened. We get them back on their feet, they're doing well, and then they don't come in for a long time, and then the same thing happens. So the best thing to do is always get adjusted when you're feeling good, so you can maintain feeling good, not just wait till you have a crisis.
Right. And are you talking to me, Dr. Sullivan?
I am talking to you, Sharon.
I will be guilty of that. I know. I'm working on that. So that's cool. It's very cool that you can bring this in and people can actually see. It's pretty impressive that I don't think most people know really what's going on in their body, and with bones and
I agree.
muscles and stuff like that.
Well, that's the thing. A lot of people see this and they don't realize that there are muscles and ligaments attached to it.
Exactly.
And so you can pull a muscle that can pull on the bone. You could have a misalignment in the bone just by, if you're sitting at your desk, the proper curve in your neck is called a lordotic curve. And so I tell my patients, anything looking up to the Lord is good for your neck. Anything looking down to that other guy is bad for your neck. And so if you're on those iPhones or the computer, you're taking the curve out of your neck. And 80 to 90% of people have low back dysfunction. It's secondary to loss of curve in the neck, because where does the force go? Straight down. So, I'm confident, this is just my opinion, but all our children, 20, 30 years from now, they're all going to have this big ugly hump on the back of their spine from all this high-tech equipment that we have. And, we're not going to be upright. We're going to be regressing back to the caveman, because, we're not going to be an upright.
Yeah. Because
humans.
everybody's on their tablets, their cell phones.
Yes.
I mean, I have 3 daughters, big time. It's, this all day long, like literally all day long.
Yeah.
Or, they'll raise up the phone to do a selfie or something like that, but I agree.
Have you ever looked at their text, how many texts they do in a month? Thousands.
I know.
Thousands. And when I see that, I think, oh my goodness, they're down like this the whole time. What is that doing to their spine? It just amazes me.
Yeah, even when I sit down at my computer, I can feel it. You know.
Well, that's a good thing. When you're sitting at your computer, your screen, a lot of people don't realize your screen should be 15 degrees upward, so you're looking slightly upward. Whoever invented those screens that are on the tabletop,
Yeah. No.
not
Not a good idea.
Not an ergonomic principle. Not a good ergonomic principle.
Yep.
So when you're sitting, your screen should be up. Your butt should be to the back of the chair. You should be upright. And core is king. You really need to have a tight core because it's like a girdle for your lower spine. And people think, well, I don't have time to go to the gym. You can work on your core just sitting in your chair, just tightening up that core so that you're not slouching.
Right.
So it's the little things that you do every day to your spine that makes a big difference. So for your profession, for example, how long have you been doing your profession?
I've been in the salon industry since I was 17.
Okay.
But really more working on the floor, I would say standing more on the floor would be the last 10 years.
Okay.
Because I did nails before that.
So
it
you
was more
did nails, sitting down,
looking
over
like this,
Yeah.
hovering over, doing the nails all day long.
And then now standing with the SI joints, stressed, and then your job, your profession, your arms are up like this. It puts a lot of strain on the neck, and so you'd work an 8-hour day or a 6-hour day, or I know you work some days longer than 8 hours. So you're working those long hours, and it's all cumulative. It adds up.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and I can feel it in between my shoulder blades. Like when I get worked on, I go to see you, and then maybe I get a massage or whatever, and they're always like, "You are so tight," in between.
Rods of steel. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and I can feel it now. So yeah, I mean it's good for everybody. My oldest daughter, actually, I should have her come see you. She's complained of. She's young. She's 23. She's complained of back problems for a while. And I don't know what it is that she could have possibly have done, to have that issue, but she's definitely.
Well, at 23, if she hasn't had her spine checked, she might have played sports. Kids fall. I mean, look at our kids. You have little babies, they crawl on the couch, they fall off, you pick them up, and off they go.
Right.
I had a patient, and I took an x-ray, and I said they were in their 20s or 30s, and their spine was very old in their neck, a lot of degeneration, trauma. I said, were you in a car accident? No. Did you fall out of a tree? No. I said, we've done something to your neck. So she said, well, when I was a little girl, I was playing on the balcony, and my father said, don't go out there because you're going to fall off the balcony. She fell off of a 2-story balcony onto the ground, jumped up, went back into the house, didn't tell her parents because she didn't want to get in trouble from her father for playing on the balcony. Thank God she was fine. But, kids do it all the time. I watch kids play sports. They get tumbled and they get up and they keep going. So you don't know. I mean, she might have fallen as a kid. She might have played sports.
Yeah. Yeah, she did basketball and soccer.
There you go. Soccer. So hitting the ball with for soccer is a lot of trauma to the neck.
Yeah.
So it's.
Yeah, you don't think of that, but it's true. You think of things that maybe you've done when you were younger, and maybe you can't feel it until you get a little older.
Sure.
You're more active or doing a certain job, then you can really feel it on the body.
Well, I'll say to patients, have you had any car accidents? They say, oh, no, not recently. They say, no, have you had any car accidents? They say, well, when I was high school, I was rear-ended or I hit a tree. I said, well, you have the same spine you had when you were in high school.
That's
Your
right.
body just compensates for that.
Yeah,
so.
You forget. You don't realize, well, that was a long time ago.
Right. I should
Why
be
am I
fine.
Why am I feeling that now?
Right.
Things come back to haunt you.
Yes, they do. Yeah.
So how many success stories do you have with the wellness, with the supplements and the food and stuff like that?
Well, I'd say right now the biggest program that we have in the office is we have a natural rapid weight loss program. And it's what we were talking about before. It's gluten-free. It's low fat, it's low caloric. They take some very specific supplements you can only get through a doctor's office. And it's for people that really need to lose like 20 pounds of more. It's all pure food eating. And I have patients that are losing anywhere between 20 and 30 pounds a month on this program, and they're feeling amazing. And they're not hungry. Their energy is through the roof. And it's really designed for people. You can't exercise vigorously on it because we don't want to increase cortisol levels, which is a stress hormone. So It's an ideal program for that person that's the engineer, or they're sitting, they don't have the time to go to the gym and do those type of things. But it's a jumpstart program, because once they get that weight off, then they want to go to the gym. And I
Right.
say, okay, this was a jumpstart. Now we're going to continue with the whole foods. You're going to incorporate some more of these things in, and maybe they're missing the grains or that. So let's get you to the gym and let's get you working out. And they're doing phenomenal on it.
So how long is the plan for? Is it like 30 days, 60
It's
days?
7 weeks. So it's
7
the
weeks.
program. Most people, first they have to sit down with me, and I just say, okay, yes, you need 20 pounds or more. So these are for people that need to lose 20, 30, 40, 50 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a 7-week program. They go on it. It's all accountability. They come in, they get weighed, measured. We do body fat percentage, because it's about losing body fat. It's not about losing weight.
Right.
And so really what they're losing is body fat.
Mm-hmm.
The program's designed to burn fat, increase the metabolism, burn fat. And they feel super because they're eating all real food. They're not eating the fats and the preservatives and the junks. And so usually the first month, I've had anybody that's done this program, nobody has lost less than 15 pounds the first month.
Yeah, and I would think
Yeah.
in the beginning it would come off faster in the beginning,
Yes.
and then you kind of get in this little slower decline.
Right. And the average person that needs to lose a lot of weight loses anywhere from 30 to 40 pounds in 7 weeks, which sounds like it's a gimmick. But if you're really toxic and you have a lot of fat on your body and you're eating all these, fake foods, once you start putting real food into your body, it just increases your metabolism. And green foods are like magnets for toxins. So it just gets all those toxins out. And they're drinking a lot of water.
Mm-hmm.
There's no alcohol. There's no beer.
Yep.
Those type of things. They're not eating the sugary fruits. You have fruits, but you're not eating bananas and pineapple and mangoes, which are high in sugar. They're not eating the kids' vegetables.
Yeah, that's a good thing to say, because I think people don't realize how much sugar is in fruit.
Yes.
Because they look at it, well, I'm eating fruit, that's healthy. Well, there are very limited amount of fruit that is actually very low in sugar, and that are going to benefit, like blueberries are very good for you.
Right, antioxidants.
Yeah.
Sure.
I just found that interesting. That so many of this great, amazing fruits out there have so much sugar.
Sure. Well, that's why you want to stay towards the citrus and the berries, because they're better for you. What happens is a lot of people think they're eating fruits and vegetables, but really what they're eating is fruit, like you said, which is a simple sugar. It's just like table sugar. Yes, it has vitamins in it.
Mm-hmm.
But the formula is for every cup of fruit you have, you should have 2 cups of vegetables. People aren't eating the vegetables.
Right.
Or they're eating the sugary vegetables, the carrots, the green beans, the peas, the white potatoes, which a white potato has as much sugar in it as a can of Coke.
Mm-hmm.
People don't think you're better off licking the dirt off the outside and throwing the potato away.
Yeah.
Now sweet potatoes is a better sort. They're low glycemic. The sugar burns slowly in your body. But yeah, people eat too much fruit. Patients will come and they say, I'm a vegetarian. I say, okay, well, give me a food diary for 3 days. And I look at the food diary and I say, no, you're not a vegetarian. You're a pasta and cheeseitarian. And you eat some fruit, and that's
Right.
it, I said, vegetarians, they eat vegetables. You don't eat any vegetables. You just don't like meat. You're just not a meat eater. That's what you are. So I said, a true vegetarian really eats a lot of vegetables. I mean, we should eat 6 to 8 cups of vegetables a day. Vegetarians need to eat twice as many as that, and lots of greens.
To get the protein and stuff
the
in
proteins and the extra B's
Right.
and so forth. So, so the program that we have the success with is that natural rapid weight loss, because they're not eating the sugary vegetables and the potatoes. And people think, well, I eat vegetables. What do you like? Green beans. Green beans are not a vegetable. They're a green bean. They're not a vegetable. So, it's in the bean family. Lots
Right.
of sugar.
So yeah, you're very knowledgeable, which I don't think people are aware of. Having a chiropractic office and taking care of people in that way. You also have so much more knowledge of the nutrition and stuff like that. So that's very impressive.
Thank you.
All the information that you've shared so far with the fruit and the vegetables. So with your nutrition program, you weigh them, you do all the body fat and everything. So you say, okay, so I'm going to start you off say the first week eating, do you actually give them their measurements?
Yes, well, so it's a designed program. It's a program. It's a very specific program.
So it's a standard one for anybody
for everybody,
who needs
yes.
to lose 20, 30,
Right.
40, 50 pounds?
Unless they're diabetic or have high blood pressure, you know, everybody can do this program unless you're on blood thinners like Coumadin, because
Okay.
you have to watch the green leafy vegetables.
Okay.
If they have high blood pressure or they're diabetic, then we monitor that every week when they come in and see how they're doing. But basically, it's very simple to follow. It's got a simple food list. This is what you can eat. This is what you can't eat. This is how much you can have, and this is it's easy. So it's either on the list or it's off the list. It's real food. It's not packaged. It's not fat-free food. You're not eating any junk, and it just puts your body into this high thermogenic phase where you stop burning in the fat. And it also, they lose a lot of inches, because when you were saying about, you know, chiropractic patients and nutrition, sometimes I get a patient on the table and they're in a lot of pain, they have a lot of inflammation, and yeah, they've hurt their back working out or something's going on. But I say, listen, you got a lot of inflammation in your body. How is your diet? Oh, it's all right. Do you eat a lot of sugar? Well, I guess I do. You got to start drinking the water, reduce the sugar, and the inflammation goes down. So if you put anybody on a whole food program, it gets rid of inflammation in the body, and they feel better, which helps your spine in general.
Yeah.
So, but for the programs that we have at the office, either it's the rapid weight loss or the purification program, it's all laid out. It's all user friendly. It's all doctor supervised. You know, so they get questions. We have website. We have email support. I'm available, you know, 24/7. Basically, I give everybody my cell phone number. I say, if you have a question, text me. You know, it's a yes. You know, it's a yes or no or type thing, or I'll call you. You know,
Right.
so they get that support and the accountability, and it's not just here, eat this. This is why you're doing this. It's a lifestyle change. So patients or people know, this is why I shouldn't do this. This is why I need to do this. Oh, and as they're doing it, I feel much better. Why would I go back to that?
Right. So you probably see people that have done it and they've seen success and they're just so happy about continuing to have their lifestyle in that way.
Well, the exciting thing is they have jobs and families and friends, and
So they see people are seeing the
Right.
difference, right?
Yeah,
and they're
and
like,
they
"What
bring 'em
are
in.
you
Yeah,
doing?"
And it's not just they look great, but they can see they feel great. Their skin is better. Their hair's, you know, in your profession, you see people that, you know, their skin and their hair is probably definitely related to their nutrition as far as the health of their hair and their skin.
Right.
So
Yeah, and I definitely recommend, you know, I talk to my clients about, I mean, I try to eat clean, I try to exercise and fit it into my life, my crazy, you know, schedule, and I feel so much better. But it's a battle, and you just have to keep continuing to conquer that battle.
right.
Moving forward and just feeling better about yourself. So that's going to wrap it up for our show today.
Great.
Thank you for coming on. Maybe
Well,
you can come
thank you
back
for
on
having
again.
me.
There's a lot to talk about.
Absolutely. I would
All
love to
right.
come again.
Thank you. Have a great day.
The preceding program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.